Thank you very much for this presentation. Again, my name is Karim. I'm a PhD researcher. I'm finishing my PhD. I'm almost there. And I'm working now with University of Manchester for another project as a postdoc. So today I will talk about BIM and asset management integration. What's the problem? Why we are not still there? And all of these aspects. So I will start the agenda with the problem. Then I will talk about the available approaches in the industry already, and a framework we formulated during the PhD, and then the outputs, and finally, recommendation. So where is the problem? The problem, we still lose a lot of information from one stage to another. In each phase, from plan, design, construction, and operation, we still lose information. And this loss of information make a lot of extensive time and cost to locate and verify for our next stage. BIM came 15, 20 years ago and started improving everything. However, it improved the plan and the design and the construction stage more, but it didn't improve the operation. For the last 5 years, people started using COBie more to improve the operation, but still, during my interviews with the people from the industry, or the experts, they still are having problem in losing information from construction to operation during the handover stage. And everyone is assuming that interoperability is the reason, although there is a lot of different aspects, but still we have to solve interoperability first to make sure that the other aspect can work. So what I did, I looked at all the different approaches already in the market now. All the approaches are using one of these following methods you can see. So it's APIs or cloud basing or ETL extract information, or even use the neutral file format, the IFC file of the thing, or even IDM and model view definition. And this can be summarized into 4 different approaches: manual, IFC, COBie, and middleware like Acodomus and everything. And the information is transferred from the BIM model to COBie spreadsheet or another spreadsheet. It depends on the contractor and the facility manager, and then to the operation and maintenance. However, when I did the interviews with the people in the industry, there is a lot of problems. One of them, they are saying all the approaches or all the available work is related to applications, but no one is developing information requirements. So we have a problem in the semantic interoperability, what is the information required, not how to transfer this information. And lack of integration. We are talking different languages. So in construction, we use Uniclass format. In facility management, they use NRM1, SFG20. So we are using different classifications, which makes the problem. Another thing, the heterogeneity of assets. So they said that not all the information or not all the required information is the same for all the assets. It depends on the asset and what's its functionality. And they said there is, in the research or in the literature, there is a defect. Everyone is looking at verifying the stage of exporting the data from the BIM model. However, what about importing the data in the asset management systems? And this is a summary of the errors they found when they import the data from COBie. So there is unessential information. Information is not required. There is already missing information, which not identified from the beginning. There is absence in mapping things and incompatible value types. So sometimes you find something millimeter, and I'm using it in meter in the asset management. So the framework can be shown on this 2x dimension. So the first thing, a taxonomy. What is the information required from the construction to the asset management? The second thing, Linkit data generation. So let's map the different standards to each other. So if we are talking Uniclass and they are talking SFG20, let's map this to each other. And then creating a model view definition based on this, creating a plugin or add-in based on that to be able to export the data, and finally, you have to validate this against. So my work was this 5 different aspects. I will go very quickly on each of them. So the first one, the taxonomy, we use this method to generate it. So we say qualitative research, interviews, focus groups, and literature review. And we built, it was a case study we did on one of the buildings in our university. And we found that we need these 60 different parameters or attributes which are related to the assets. And when we concentrated on this, we considered that assets consume energy. So we found there's this different 60 parameters, and we divided them into 6 different categories. Some related to location, some related to specification, and so on. The second thing, the Linkit data, as we talked, there's 2 different standards, or 3 or 4. We created ontology for each of these standard or classification. And based on this, we were able to map the different classifications to each other. The third thing, model view definition. We use IFC doc to develop the model view definition based on 1 and 2, the taxonomy and the Linkit data. And then we did a Revit add-in. Based on this, the Revit add-in consists of 3 different add-ins. So the first one is to add all the 60 parameters we talked about. The second one is to fill the parameters which can be filled. So one of the things, for example, we have the architecture model and the mechanical model. And we need the information about the mechanical model related to every equipment. So what we did, when we link the architecture model to the mechanical model, we see that both of them have the same coordinates. Automatically, the add-in would add all the information related to the room to the mechanical equipment. And finally, the third one is exporting this as an IFC based on the developed model view definition. Finally, once we have the model view definition, we have the IFC model, we did a validation using IFC doc. And the validation consists of 6 different things related to semantic validation, like the presence of the attributes, so all the attributes are there, the elements are there, the accuracy, the value, and the property sets we identified, the 60 different ones. From this, we found some recommendations from our case study. Firstly, the facility manager and the asset management systems specialist, they have to tell us in an early stage what information they want and how it's linked to the BIM model. The second thing, all the elements should be a parametric element in the BIM model, so no detailed lines, nothing like this, so we can add a lot of information for it. The third thing, you have to have continuous validation. You have to run it and see that your model includes all the different information required. And this is a very tricky thing because you have to know who is going to do that and where and when. And you have to identify this. Fourth thing is pilot study. It's very important to have a pilot study in the beginning of the project, and our project was really successful because of this. We were able to identify all the information in the pilot study and this, work on it. You have to take in consideration change management. Although you think life is going great, but things happen and changes happen and requirements change. And this is very important from my perspective, that traditional approach, if you are going to go and talk to someone to implement something new, you have to take in consideration what he's doing now. Because if you said, oh, this is new, but it doesn't work with him very well, he will reject it. I finished. I'm just going to show you a graph, and this is an idea. Maybe it's future research, maybe it's not, I don't know. So there is a lot of platforms already available in the BIM platform. And as Andre was talking earlier today, we don't want any vendor to control the market, so the IFC was there and all the model view definition of this. And there is a relation which you can import and export IFC based on this. But once we went to the asset management, or let's say operation and maintenance stage, we found other platforms. And these platforms, they don't take in consideration at all IFC. They say, yes, we are compatible with COBie, but they are not. Actually, the data goes there, there's a lot of semantic errors and everything. So the idea is, why we don't do something like IFC if we are in construction way ahead than the facility managers. And this can contain all the different